What's going on, guys? Welcome to Kickin with Cos podcast. I'm your host, Cos Ballas. It is September 2nd, 2024, and god damn, it was a hot one, huh? Yeah, it's probably around like 83, 84 degrees outside where I'm at in Pennsylvania. And as you know, September is football season, baby. We are back to the grind. NFL, college, high school. I know my Nittany Lions won. It was kind of a cupcake games. I think that's what they call it. There was a couple of cupcake games. Well, most of them were cupcake. The big one was, I know I'm a Penn State, but I'm also a Notre Dame fan. Notre Dame, Texas A&M. That was a great game. Great game. Very, very close game up until the end. Notre Dame was able to come up with a couple of interceptions, a couple of stops to get out the victory. But it was a great game overall. It was one you have to go back and watch if you haven't checked it out. So I didn't want to come on here and be a part of everybody else, because I know like every Tom, Dick, and Harry on here has a football podcast. But you know me, I come on here and kind of just talk about anything and everything. So the thing that's weighing heavy on my mind for sure is co-parenting and how to do it, how to go about it. I know it takes time, but there is a big issue with co-parenting and what's the right way to do it? What's the wrong way to do it? Is there really a right or wrong way to do it? I look at it this way. Like, I look at it as parenting on its own. I mean, when you have kids and the baby comes and you're all excited, and now you have this little child and you're holding this little child and you're trying to take care of them as they grow. You kind of know the gist of it, feed, burp, they go to the bathroom, change their diaper, and then put them to sleep, right? Easy peasy, right? So those are when they're small, when they're just born, that's the easy part, right? And hopefully you had a kid that kind of stayed quiet, slept throughout the night. Shout out to all those parents that have the colicky babies that are just constantly crying. I feel so sorry, because even with a normal, like McKinley and Coralie, they were God's blessing, right? You fed them, they went to the bathroom, you burped them, you changed their diaper, and they went to sleep. And when they went to sleep, you better hope to hell y'all went to sleep, because that's one tip that I'm going to put out there for all the new parents out there. If the baby's sleeping, you better fucking sleep. Especially if you're out there like I was. Me and my ex, we were working opposite shifts. So obviously she had short-term. She went on short-term when she was pregnant. So we were working opposite shifts, but obviously, what do you do as a dad, a new dad? You pick up extra shifts. You try to like take the load, so to speak, as far as bringing in the money, because obviously she's on short term, and depending on how much percentage of short term she gets, it might not be a lot. So especially in this economy, like today, I don't know how y'all are surviving it. So you pick up extra shifts, you keep that going. And when do you find the time to sleep? So how we worked it out was and I'm telling you right now, the way that we worked it out, because it was not the best. Um, I could have tried harder. She could have tried harder. We'll get into that in a minute. Um, the best way to do it was like I would come home, and after I come home, like I would take McKinley, and I would just tell her, hey, like just go upstairs, go to bed. She was breastfeeding, I think, at the time, so she had already pumped. She had extras in the freezer. So I just kind of told her like, yo, go ahead, go upstairs, go to sleep, and I'll take the baby from here. Now, one of my favorite tips, if you don't have one of those like baby carriers, like the daddy packs, bro, that saved my life. Saved me. I would come home after working a 12-hour shift, and I would be like exhausted, right? Because where I was working at the time, I was like, freaking, it was grueling work, especially like during the summertime, because she was born in May. So like during the summertime, it was like 1,000 degrees in that fucking warehouse. Um, so the daddy pack, I call it the daddy pack, but it's like the baby carrier that you wear in the front or you can wear in the back. Obviously, I wore it in the front. Saved my life. Saved my life. So I would come home, and we kind of just do our little tag out. She'd go upstairs and go to bed, and then I would get McKinley, and I'd have her in her little bouncer, and I would get the bottle, warm it up, test it, and then I would just feed her as she bounced in her bouncer. I would just feed her. So as she was feeding, she was like sitting up. So, and then literally I'd feed her. And like, I'm not going to lie to you guys. When I say it doesn't come with a manual, like parenting doesn't come with a book. You have to figure it out on your own. So whatever was working for you, and you're going to mess up. You're going to mess up. So there was a couple times where I came home, she was in the bouncer, and I had the bottle, and I was like feeding her, but then like I would do one of these things where she was bouncing, and I was keeping like a steady motion. I was keeping a steady motion with my feet, right? Bouncing the bouncer. And there's just some days I would just come home. I would just come home, and I would pull one of these numbers. I'd pull one of these numbers, and I would be like feeding. I'd be feeding and falling asleep at the same time. So it was so weird, because like you feel bad as a parent. Like you come home and you're exhausted, but you have this tiny little baby that you need to provide for and you need to take care of. So like as I'm sitting there after work, and you're sitting there, and I'm like feeding her, but like you're just staring at her, like bouncing in her little chair, feet are kicking and going and shit. And you have the bottle, and this like sometimes you just drift off, right? You're just drifting off to sleep. So I'm like, I drift off to sleep, and like I probably was assed out for like maybe like 2 or 3 or 5 minutes. Who the fuck knows? But like all I can think about is like waking back up, like I just missed the fucking bus, and she's still bouncing away in her little bouncer, and the bottle's like laying on her chest, and I'm like, there's milk on her chin and shit like that. And long story short, you're gonna make mistakes. You're gonna make mistakes. That's just the bottom line of it. Parenting does not come with a handbook. Does not come with a handbook. It doesn't tell you how much sleep you're gonna get. It doesn't tell you how much sleep you're not gonna get. If you're a new parent and you just had a child, you're already going through it, and you know that, especially if the mother is breastfeeding, like, guys, we got to help them out, right? Because you got to think about how often the mother is getting up to feed the baby, right? Because most of the time, like, she'll pump throughout the day, but like when it's nighttime and the baby wakes up and the baby's hungry, you better believe the mom's getting up and feeding her, right? Or him. So us as men, we got to, step up our game a little bit. Mom goes in and feeds. I'm coming in to change the diaper, burp the baby, whatever needs to happen. But like I said, so the reason I'm touching on this, the reason why I'm talking about taking care of the infant, right? Because most of us worked together at that point in time. And there's different times where, things might not work out. Like I said, we worked different shifts. So it was, we never had time for us, right? You got to make time for you and your partner. And that was one of the biggest mistakes that I made, was that I didn't take enough time out to make sure that my partner was happy. And I'll take it on the chin. I know that I messed up, but those times that you're taking care of that small little infant, the time that you're together, make sure that you cement it in your memory. Make sure you cement that in your memory, that all the times that you work together and that you guys took care of one child, took care of two children, like, just remember those times that you spent helping each other out, right? Because it's brand new. Both of you guys are scared. Maybe it was unplanned, but as far as being a parent, it doesn't come with a handbook, and you guys are working together to figure the shit out, right? So just remember the times that you helped each other out and you worked as a team, because later on down the line, we got to make sure that we are keeping our partner happy and you guys are working as a team too. Just because the mom is breastfeeding or taking care of the children, she might be a stay-at-home mom, she might be a working mom. You guys have to take time to spend time together. That is a huge, huge factor in this. If you guys don't take the time out to spend time together, you're just going to get stressed out. You're going to be tired from work or tired from taking care of the kids. She's going to be tired from work or taking care of the kids. It's just going to end up in arguments. It's just going to end up in fighting. And when you already don't see each other throughout the week, because one's working one shift and the other's working the other shift, if you're not seeing each other like throughout the week, you fall into this abyss. You fall into this abyss of not communicating with each other. And then when one party decides that they want to communicate, it comes out as an argument, right? So you build up to a certain point and it comes out in a fit of anger or a fit of rage. And we all know that's not the proper way to communicate with our partner, especially if you let things build up and you don't get out there and you don't sit them down and you don't communicate with them like, hey, listen, I feel like I'm having a hard time coping. And not to mention, like, let's not forget the postpartum. Like, that's a real thing, fellas. Like, postpartum depression, like, that's a real fucking thing. So make sure you're checking on your partners. Make sure you're checking on your ladies, because after they have kids, they go through, and sometimes I'm talking like months, maybe years. Yes, years of postpartum. Like, they get depressed. I mean, I've heard stories and I've read articles to, like, they get depressed to a point where, like, brand new moms are like dreaming about putting their kids in a fucking washing machine and turning it on. Like, it's that fucking crazy. Like, so you got to communicate, because if you don't communicate, it's going to build up in you, right? We are social creatures. So if we don't build up, if we let it build up and build up and build up, it's just going to get to a point where we get angry and we argue with each other. So you got to communicate. And it's just something maybe as little as like, hey, I called my mom and dad, or hey, I called our friend. They're going to come over, watch the baby for a little bit. Let's you and me go out to dinner. Let's go out to the movies. Let's do a date night. Or, hey, I noticed that you have been, a little short with me or a little off. What can I do to help? What can I do to alleviate the situation, or what's on your mind? Make sure that you guys are communicating clearly and communicating 100%, because it will make a world of difference when it comes down to taking care of a child, dealing with the difficulties of taking care of that child. And then on top of that, being able to communicate and work as a team, because you got to find time with each other. So communication, like I said, absolute key. And then, so in my situation, we were working opposite shifts. We never took time to ourselves. And when we did take time for ourselves, like, it was started off okay, but then completely just went to shit, because our communication was not clear. Our reading each other's body language, not clear. We kept a lot of things inside and kind of just put on a fake smile and went about our day. So there was a lot of things that wanted to be put on the table that wasn't put on the table. There was a lot of things that were kept inside and that I didn't know how to communicate. And there was a lot of things that she kept inside, because when she tried to communicate, I didn't want to listen, and vice versa. So like, we copy each other's energy. Okay. So like, when you are talking about something and they don't want to hear it, you can read their body language, right? And as you're talking about it and you're reading their body language, you're automatically getting pissed off, right? You're automatically getting pissed off and you're getting upset. And now, because you're getting upset, you're making the other person upset because of your body language and you getting upset. It's confusing, I know, but you see the circle here? You see the spiral that goes on? So then when you open up about something and you're talking about something, they're getting pissed off, and it's just vice versa. They don't want to hear it. You don't want to hear it. And when you go so long talking to each other, but not talking to each other, communicating with each other, but not communicating with each other, you're just putting a Band-Aid on a crack in a dam. You're putting a Band-Aid on it. So little things, little nitpicky things that are getting thrown out there, like the dishes not being done, or the floor not being vacuumed, or, something like that. Like, little things that are being thrown out are getting nitpicked to a point where y'all are starting an argument over nothing. And then once that argument starts, it's like a snowball effect, right? It just all goes downhill, because everything that you guys have pent up is coming out. And the way it's coming out is not healthy. the way that it's coming out is in the form of anger and in the form of yelling, and in some cases sometimes in the form of like throwing shit at people. Like it's not healthy. And the more that you can communicate, the more that you can throw out there, and the more that you can be intertwined with your partner, the more time you spend with them, the better it's going to be, that team, you know? And, you know, we can look at it as football, right? Football, you have a team. In order to have all 11 men on the same page, they need to have what? A playbook or plays to run, right? How do we learn the plays? We learn the plays by practice, right? So you two as partners should have already had that practice before the baby's born, right? Should have already had that practice. Should have already been communicating clearly. You should have already been, you know, being honest with your partner, making sure you're spending time. And it's easy at that point in time. I feel like it's easier because you're already at a point with your partner before the kids come into the picture. You're already at the point where you are spending nothing but time with your partner. So you are spending nothing but time. You guys are always together. You're always hanging out. You're always talking. That is a person that you want to be with and that you want to have children with. And it's a great feeling. But no one talks about keeping that up throughout your entire life, right? Your entire life, you have to keep that up. And for some people, it's not doable. For some people, they run into situations that may test them or put them through something, or the couple might go through something like an illness or, you know, unfortunately, like a child passing away, or, you know, a mom, a dad passing away. These are all these are all trials and tribulations that your relationship might come across. But if you don't have a strong foundation, or you don't have a strong bond in the beginning, and you don't have a strong means of communication, and you can't sit down with your partner and discuss anything and everything on God's green earth, it's more than likely later on down the line not going to work. We tried to stay together. We tried for 7 or 8 years to try to stay together. And it was one of those things where, like, we would come together, it would be okay, not communicating, not spending time with each other. We felt like single parents, and boom, off we went. We'd get into a fight. Either I would leave, she would leave, and that would be it. And this was happening before we even had children, right? So, you know, another time I catch her in a lie, or I'm not trusting her. Another big thing, big issue. If you don't trust your partner, if you don't trust them and you feel like you cannot bring up certain things to discuss, once that trust is out of the equation, it's downhill, right? So the minute that they do something small, the minute that they do something so small, and it just triggers just a hair of something in your mind, where you're like, oh, what are they doing? Who are they with? I bet you they're out there like partying. They're not inviting me. Like, I'm, you know, you start getting upset. And the minute that you start to get upset, you or your partner become, quote unquote, the crazy one, right? And I think a lot of men throw it out there. Oh, she's just a crazy ex, or she's just crazy this, crazy that. A lot of men throw that out there, but they don't realize that they are the ones that are doing the damage, right? So we are the ones that are doing the damage, and then we kind of take it as a cop out where we can just go, oh, well, she was crazy. She didn't know what she was doing. Like, she was just being nuts. Like, why did she cut up my clothes? I don't fucking know. She's just fucking nuts. She's crazy. No. What had happened was there wasn't clear and concise communication. There wasn't that barrier of trust between both of you. And you were probably out fucking around, or you probably didn't tell her something that you should have. And what happens? She goes fucking nuts because here's somebody that she trusts completely, and he took their mutual trust and just fucking tossed it to the side because you're not being completely honest with your partner. That's just, it's one of the things that it just irks me, because anybody can take that cop out and just go, oh, well, it's my ex is just crazy. Now, I'm not saying that, like, literally there are some people out there that are absolutely fucking nuts, right? Not saying that there isn't somebody out there that's absolutely fucking nuts, but I'm saying the majority of the time, we as men and as women, like, we take that as a cop out. We take that as, oh, that's my crazy ex, or, you know, oh, my ex is crazy. Like, that's why she's blowing up my phone. No, the reason why she's blowing up your phone, bro, is because you're still on the DL texting her and telling her that you want to get back with her. That's why when she flips out and she's like flipping out that you haven't left your significant other at the time, or, you know, maybe you two did have want to work on things and you wanted to come back. Well, guess what? If you're still texting her behind your new boo's back and she's acting all fucking crazy, don't go over to the new boo and go, oh, well, she's just nuts. That's a cop out, fellas. We can't do that. Now, unless, like I said, unless she is literally fucking nuts, we can't cop out like that. Anyway, I'm getting onto a tangent. Let's go back to co-parenting. So co-parenting. So like I said, if you don't work as a team, you don't take that time out to be with your partner, spend time with them, call your parents, call one of your closest friends. Like, if you trust them, like taking care of the child, call someone, say, hey, listen, we want to go out for an hour, take them out to dinner, take them out to the movies, go kayaking, do something, go hiking, do something with your significant other that, you know, you guys just had a child. You guys are spending 24 hours a day taking care of these children, and it is stressful as fuck. Please take the time to take a break from parenting and go do something for yourself, because that's one of the most important things, is just taking time and doing something with each other or on your own even. You know, hey, I want to go get my nails done. Okay, all right, honey, I'll take the kids. You go get your nails done. Do what you need to do. Especially, you know, those stay-at-home moms. The stay-at-home moms, they're a different kind of breed. And I say that in a positive way. They're a different kind of breed, right? Someone who chooses to want to stay home and take care of the children and take care of the household while you go and work is a dime a dozen. Okay. And I'm not talking about the person that says that she's a stay-at-home mom, but then all she does is say, oh man, these kids just, you know, they kill me. And she doesn't have like things like, now necessarily, I'm not saying every single day she has to have, you know, the dishes done, house cleaned up, and fucking dinner on the table. Like I said, communication, right? They are a rare fucking breed. They are a rare breed, and it's dying out because the majority of women now are going to get cabin fever. They don't want to stay home with the kids. They don't want to, and I'm not saying they don't want to take care of the children, but they want to take on a role to help with the household, because in today's economy, with the way that grocery prices are and the way that freaking inflation is, gas prices, all that shit, house prices, your mortgage, like you have to have two people working, right? And whether it's, you know, her staying at home and like doing a job working from home, or and you're going out and you're getting the money, like those stay-at-home moms where you are fortunate enough as a man to go out, or even stay-at-home dads. I'm not saying, I'm not trying to put a gender thing on anyone, but if you have on the rare occasion, if you have that job where you can go and provide for your family wholly, and you have one person that can stay home with the children, then you are in luck. But on the other end of the spectrum, you have to make sure that the person that is staying home is not getting burnt out, right? Very, very important that you make sure that that person is not getting burnt out. Again, these are all things that we learn, and sometimes like in my occasion, in my instance, I learned way too late, right? So it took me all these things to come alight, and it took me to the point of where she wanted out and we weren't happy, and we could tell it on each other's face. And the way like I came home, my body language, the way she came home, her body language, we constantly fought. We constantly argued about shit. And it got to that point where we were like, okay, well, this is not working out at all. This is not working. So like I said, co-parenting is a fickle beast. And the stay-at-home moms, stay-at-home dads, I mean, you got to make sure that everyone's happy. And it's tough, you know. There's not a day that goes by that, you know, you feel like you're not doing enough. Especially as a single parent, you feel like you're not doing enough. But like the arguing, the fighting, the going back and forth, like we just couldn't take it. So you know, we decided to split. And was it hard? Yeah. Because you have someone that you had children with. It is a emotional attachment unlike any other. That connection that you have with that person that you've had children with is a connection that you will have for life. And it's rough. It's rough to get over that. It's rough to get that feeling. It's hard to break it. It's hard to mend it, because one side will feel like they got betrayed, the other side will feel like they got betrayed, and it will be, I'm not going to say it's going to be easy, because it's not. It's never easy. That feeling that you get when you are intertwined with children, a family, and you've had those memories and you've made those memories and they were great memories, and you've had all those feelings, and then not knowing how often you're going to be able to see your children, all that shit just comes up. And the frustration of not being able to communicate and not being able to properly deal with those feelings, it's all a ball of emotion that gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And right, so what do we do majorly when there's that ball of emotion and we don't know how to outlet it properly? We take it out on the other party, right? So you get these instances where the one partner is fucking arguing with the other partner, and you guys are just going back and forth about stupid shit, or like one party goes and takes the other party for custody, and the one party that took the other party for custody ends up getting more time with the children than you do. And there's literally, and I'm saying the government is turning it around and tremendously. That's one thing that our government is actually doing. Like, we are seeing a level playing field across the board here, because for the majority of years, and I'm talking decades or more, the women were always getting more time. And I'm not saying that to be negative, but it's a fact. Women have always won more custody battles than men. And now we're starting to see that ball turn around, where the men are starting to get an even playing field. Because especially when there's hatred or when there's anger involved, and when I say anger, it might not be hatred and anger towards that person. It might be the frustration of, I had so many good memories with you and I shared so many good things with you, and so we've had these children together, but I don't know how to express my feelings, and I don't know how to get those feelings out and how to communicate with you about them properly. And that's fine. Most couples don't. And what it ends up being is like, what can I do to the other party to get the other party back? Right. So what can I do to you to get back at you? So you go through this, and this, I'm going to say this is like, I feel like it's a natural fucking progression. For some reason, that's just a natural progression that the majority of couples go through that split up, is that natural progression of tit for tat. I'm going to go back and forth, and I'm going to do something to you because I didn't feel right about what you did to me there, and blah, blah, blah. And like, guys, I'm not going to say I had an epiphany. I just gotten older, and all that shit, and like, I'm too old to be going through all that shit now. Right. So how do I communicate to someone who wants to communicate, but now the connection between you two it's unsure. We don't know. You don't know what kind of connection you have, like, unless you talk about it, right? So sit down, talk with your partner about it, or the person that you're going through all this shit with. Like, it, ask them out to lunch, ask them out to dinner, go into a neutral area and discuss some of this shit. Now, when I say discuss it, I say you both need to go in with a level head. You both need to know that there isn't any more time for fighting, right? Because what is the most impactful thing that we are doing while we are fighting? We are affecting the way that the kids are being brought up, and we are not setting the example for the children. And that is the most important thing here between the both of you, is the children. The setting the example for the children is by far the most important thing, and should be the most important thing that we have mutually together. So if you can go and set that up to where you two are mutually agreeing on, that's what we need to do. We need to worry about what example we're setting for our children, because your children, this whole time that you guys are going back and forth, and it could be years, it could be months, it could be 2 years, 3 years, that's all time that's being wasted. That's all time that's being wasted, and your children are growing up and you're missing the shit. You're missing it because you're fucking fighting. And you're missing it because you see something a certain way, they don't see it the other way, and like you guys are arguing about the shit and it doesn't fucking matter anymore. Our kids are getting older. Every birthday that goes by, they want to see some sort of mutual fucking respect. And when you guys are constantly arguing and constantly fighting with each other, that's all the kids are learning, is that this is how a relationship's going to be. This is how a healthy relationship goes. This is how I'm supposed to act with my significant other. Think about that. The next time that you get into an argument, or the next time that you get upset with your partner or the person that you're co-parenting with, think about that. Truly slow down and think about it. What am I gaining here? By arguing, by fighting, by taking something away. What am I gaining? I need to set the example. And by setting the example, starts with communication with the person that you're co-parenting with. Communication, and whether you guys get to a friend level, get to a civil level, just get to a point where you two can spend time in the same room together, right? Birthdays, Christmas time, and then also, you know, other significant others are going to get thrown into that situation. You have to man up or woman up and be woman enough or man enough to accept that possibility, or damn near it's going to happen. You need to accept it, and you need to just put your differences aside and meet that person, be friends, communicate. Everyone communicating together opens up so many avenues of approach when it comes to parenting your children, right? Because when the children are over with mom half the time, and you as the dad don't get to step in that often, you know, the significant other might come over or might text you or might call you and be like, hey dude, I don't know what to do here. Like, they're not listening to me, and you know, I honestly don't know what to do. And it'll free up so much. You can communicate with them and just be like, yo, listen, the reason you're not getting through is because like I do it this way. And then you guys can be on the same page. You can be 100% on the same page with everything and be able to communicate across the board, be able to discipline across the board, be able to set that structure across the board in both households. And everything will run more smoothly. And it's just, that's where we're working towards now, because I was like, yo, bro, I'm fucking old. I'm getting old. I'm 38 years old. I'm getting way too old to be dealing with the drama, dealing with the arguing, going tit for tat over stupid shit, right? So let me communicate. And I'm not saying it's going to be easy, because it is not going to be easy. You have to make sure that when you're ready, the other party's ready, and the other party might not be ready. The other party might not want to discuss anything with you. The other party might not want to communicate with you or tell you things or get to that point, you know, or not feel comfortable with it. And that's fine. Like, that's the way shit goes sometimes. But if you can get it to a certain point where you can work with the other party the other party, meaning the person you had the child with, if you can get it to a certain point to where you guys are at least communicating about structure, communicating about school stuff coming up, or this event coming up, or this, that, and the third. If you guys can at least communicate up to that point, then everything will fall into place later on down the line. And like I said, you're not working towards becoming best friends with them, right? We're not trying to mend the relationship here. We're just trying to mend it to a point where you guys can be in the same room and communicate and be civil and set the example for the children, right? Put on the smile, put on the happy face. I guarantee when you get to a certain point where you can communicate clearly with the other party, it will be by far the smoothest thing ever, and the co-parenting will go off without a hitch. And that's kind of the environment that we're in right now. And it's kind of weird, right? Because, like I said, you still might have those leftover feelings. And when you get to a certain point, the lines might get blurry. So you get to a certain point where, if you do want to take it to that point where you want to be friends with the other party or the person that you had the child with, just be careful, because where the lines get blurred is where, when you start getting close again, you or the other party could become what's the word for it? You guys might get fooled, right? So your mind might play tricks on you, like, oh, well, does she like me again? Or, oh, is he trying to hit on me again? Like, are we trying to get back together? That in itself is a whole different ball game there. If you make it clear in the beginning that it's not going to go anywhere, like there is no point, shape, or form that you guys are getting back together. You need to make that clear in the beginning, and the lines still might get blurred, but as long as you guys make it a point to keep it clear, you can still have that healthy platonic relationship where you can spend time with each other, chill with each other, drink with each other, whatever, and still be able to show the kids that we still love each other, we still hang out together, we still have fun together, and show them that, like, even though that mom and dad aren't together anymore, like, we still have that same ability to love each other. But when we say love each other, we love each other in a whole different aspect. Like, that flower died and now a new one is sprouting in its place and becoming a better flower, a healthier flower. Hell, it might even turn into a tree. Who knows? But as long as you keep communicating with that other party, it will go so much smoother. I promise you guys. One last thing before we go, I wanted to take a look at ourfamilywizard.com. This blog is something that I pulled up. They're looking at 10 positive co-parenting tips. So let's see what they got to say. And I think I hit on most of these, but co-parenting tip number 1, your children's needs come first, right? It should be a no-brainer. Whatever your issues are with your co-parent, put your children's well-being on the front burner always. Always, always, always. Divorcing parents often say that it's the hardest concept to remember, especially if the divorce is messy, right? So like I said before, you guys are going tit for tat because there's still that ball of emotions together. you still have that ball of emotions. You still don't know like who's going to see the children more, who's not going to see the children more. All this shit gets all piled up, and you can lose what's most important. And what's most important are the children, right? The children. That's what's most important. And you have to kind of push all those differences aside, and you have to make sure that you know that the children come first and whatever they need come first, right? Making your children's security and sense of stability is a priority, and it's a key to a successful divorce. So do whatever it takes to place them first, even if it means working with a family therapist to help you and your co-parent bring the conversation back to what is best for the children, right? And that could be, the mediation when you go to the custody hearing, or when you go to a custody mediator. Usually they try to handle it outside of court. They have a mediator in place. You guys go and sit down, you have a meeting. What is best for the children? That kind of is like a professional way to push all the shit, all the differences between you two aside, and you can sit down in a neutral area and you can discuss what the needs are of the children and who is better fit. Sometimes both of you are perfectly fit to take care of the children's needs. Number 2, prioritize communication for effective co-parenting. What did I, dude, I just spent like literally almost 45 minutes on communication. Communication is number 1. If you don't know what Johnny's doing after school, or if you don't know what time Johnny needs to be picked up after school, or you don't know that Johnny's been getting in trouble in school and you're leaving the other. Now, first of all, if you're the parent that's leaving the other parent in the dark, fuck you, bro. Fuck you. You should be telling them everything. Everything that's going on with your child is important, not just for you, but for the other party too, because it's not just you taking care of them, it's the other party too. They need to know what's going on. So if you're keeping all that shit from them, shame on you. Get fucking better. Seriously. So I'm not going to read through communication because I think I hit that nail on the head more enough. Parallel parenting. Like I said, you communicate not only with the other party, but with the other party's significant other, and you get that parallel parenting going on. It's a beautiful thing, man. And it's like a fucking watching a beehive and watching it at work. It's like fucking clockwork, right? And things are getting discussed. You can even have fucking meetings where like we pick a house, you pop popcorn, you sit down, you're fucking drinking beer, drinking wine, talking about this, that, and the third. It becomes like a little get together, but you're having a family meeting with, now instead of 2 parents and however many children, now you have 4 parents with however many children, or 4 adults with however many children, and you can make the shit fun, right? Sit down, play games, make the shit fun, but also discuss what's on the agenda for, coming up for the week. It's like a fucking business meeting. You get to that point, you're fucking golden. You're fucking golden. And I'm not saying it's always going to work out that way, but I have read articles, I have seen it in person where it's handled like a fucking business meeting. Y'all sit down at the table, you pop popcorn, you have snacks, you have fucking wine, beer, whatever, drinks for the kids. Y'all play a fucking board game together, and then you sit down and you discuss what's going on for the week, or what's going on in Johnny's life, or what's going on in Cindy's life. Like, it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. Like, there's so many things that can be beautiful. And like, there's so many things that can become beautiful from something ugly. And in the beginning, the divorce, the split up, the whole co-parenting situation could be a disaster, but it's what you do, and also the maturity level Let's talk about that too. The maturity level has to be there. The communication has to be there, but also it has to be a mutual respect for each other and a mutual respect for whoever else comes along. So parallel parenting, perfect, right? Co-parenting tip number 3, stay on the same page for the big stuff, right? So best case scenario in co-parenting is for both parents to be consistent and in agreement with rules regarding behavior and discipline, bedtimes, screen time, playtime, personal hygiene, all the shit, right? All their routines need to be, and I was talking about structure earlier, right? Structure. Kids need structure. We've had structure. It needs to be, right? Whatever you do here at bedtime needs to be at least similar to what mom does for bedtime. Whatever we do for screen time, if I'm giving them an hour, mom's giving them an hour. If I'm saying, hey, make sure that they brush their teeth in the morning, brush their teeth after lunch, or brush their teeth, make sure we're sticking with the same personal hygiene, right? Get a bath at the end of the day. Household chores, like Mickey unloads the dishwasher. That's what she does. She unloads the dishwasher. Make sure that mom is keeping like a similar chore for her to do. It's really, really huge to keep that structure between both households for sure. So if your parenting styles differed before you separated, you're unlikely to magically be in agreement now, right? So if you were the tyrant parent and, the other party was the doormat or the softie, you have to, and I discussed a little bit, I touched on it in the first episode. I had to learn how to be the sensitive parent, right? Because I was so used to being the authority figure and being the tyrant and saying, you're going to do this because I said so, and you don't want to make me mad and blah, blah, blah. But then, like, as the household breaks apart and you have the other party go away, it's hard to realize that, okay, I need to be both for them. And, not necessarily have to be, but you also have to think about the situation, right? Are you raising boys? Are you raising girls? Like, what parenting style was working, for the two, right? And you got to discuss that too. That's where communication comes in. You have to communicate, have to communicate with the other party on the parenting styles and what they did as a parent to help you get through some of the difficult situations that are coming up, or that you're dealing with at home, by yourself. Stick to your parenting schedule. Oh my God. I can go on and on about this shit. If you guys have a custody agreement, stick to the fucking custody agreement until you can reach a certain maturity level or a certain point where you can say, okay, I think we can make a change or make a modification, and then go along with it. Like, keep the schedule, because structure goes back to structure. The kids need to have a routine. They need to have a structure. That's the best way to bring them up, is to have some sort of structure, because if we don't have structure, there's complete fucking chaos. And where we have complete fucking chaos, we have kids that aren't functioning correctly in society. That's what we have, folks. Tip number 5, don't badmouth the other co-parent. Obviously, like, that's a big thing. You can make jokes I make jokes quite often because my daughters are at the age where they know their mom inside and out, right? So we can make jokes about the other parent, like, but in good taste. But we definitely do not want to bad mouth, because who does that make look good, really? If we're bad mouthing the other parent, who does that make look good? Doesn't make anybody look good. It makes you look like a fucking ignorant piece of shit. And it makes you look like that you're an immature asshole. That's what it makes you look like. So if you're bad mouthing the other parent, shame on you, because you're just an immature piece of shit at that point. Co-parenting tip number 6, make an effort to be positive. Obviously, positivity. But let's not get it twisted here, folks. Let's not get it twisted, because in today's society, I am seeing way too much fucking soft shit. Okay? We were not brought up like that. We were not brought up where everyone gets a participation trophy and everyone gets a participation ribbon and everyone's fucking this and everyone's good and everyone's positive and blah, blah, blah. Like, where does that get you? You have to set your kids up to what they're going to experience in life. And if you're going to sit there and say Johnny's going to experience everyone being positive and saying yes and fucking giving him trophies for whenever he takes a fucking shit, you're sorely fucking mistaken, and you're setting your kid up for a failure. If you're giving your kid a fucking cookie every time he goes to the fucking bathroom, you're setting your child up for childhood obesity. What do they say? 75 to 80% of fucking Americans are obese. Well, it starts with children. Hello, parents that are giving their kids candy and fucking chocolate and doing all this shit just to shut them the fuck up, and then shoving a fucking a tablet in their face so they can go off and do whatever, and you can keep scrolling on your fucking phone. How about put the fucking phone down? Grab a book. Grab a fucking board game. Go outside and fucking play with them. You know the reason why we were a healthy child? We were healthy children back in the 80s and the 90s because we didn't have a fucking phone to look at. We didn't have these electronics. We didn't have computers. We didn't have the internet. We didn't fucking use it. So what did? We went outside. We came home after school. We did our homework because we knew as soon as we do our homework and we get it done, we can go outside and play, right? We can grab our bikes and we can bike 1.5 miles down to fucking Johnny's house to hang out for a little bit and watch TV, or go and get the bikes and go off on a fucking adventure somewhere. Go down to the swimming hole, fucking go swimming, do whatever. We would be biking all over this motherfucking place. Like, and that's how we stay active, right? Our kids don't know that anymore because we're shoving fucking electronics in their face. Like, you gotta put a fucking time frame on these electronics, because we are now seeing and we're developing a society of addicts, right? We're addicted to TikTok. We're addicted to Facebook. We cannot. And if you've ever been in that situation where you have your phone and you're swiping and you get in that TikTok hole or that Facebook hole or that Instagram hole and you're watching videos for fucking hours on end, you don't know where the fucking time went. Guess what? We're addicted to it. We can't go anywhere without our fucking phones anymore. And I make it a point every day to put my phone up, to not touch the goddamn thing for at least an hour, a good hour. Right now, as I'm doing this podcast, my phone is away from me. I don't want it near me. I want it far away as possible. Don't even want to fucking hear the goddamn thing, because I want my undivided attention to you. Okay, so again, I went off on a tangent. Make an effort to be positive, but don't be overly positive, because we want to set our kids up to be a functioning member of society, and know and teach them that there are going to be disappointments in the world, and your life is not always going to be 100% go the way that it's supposed to go. So you need to set them up for little failures here and there. If Johnny doesn't beat you in a fucking race, don't let them win. If Susie wants to, you know, take you on in a video game, don't let Susie win. You know why? Because it's not going to be fair. Life is not going to be fair, and you need to set them up for failure. They need to know that there is going to be times where you fail. And here are ways to improve, so maybe next time you don't fail. Practice makes perfect, right? All right. Tip number 7, empathy first. In the early days of divorce, it will be hard to be empathetic towards your co-parent. We hit this on more occasions than not. But so direct the empathy towards your children. And this is what I tried to do a lot. Like, I did not see eye to eye with my ex, and I did not see how she was being and how she was acting, and I wasn't being empathetic to, her losing her mother, and her taking care of her mother and going through the last portions of her life. And the empathy wasn't there for me, but the empathy that I wanted to share, instead of sharing it with her, I shared it with the kids. The empathy, the crying, the being sensitive, you don't have to go to a point of crying in front of the kids, but like, there are going to be situations where you're going to get frustrated because they're not doing what you asked them to do, and it's going to get rough. Like, there is going to be a rough patch where you are so worried about what the other person's doing because you've been doing it with them for such a long period of time that, like, you're always going to wonder what they're doing. Stop doing that. Be empathetic to their situation, but also, if you can't be empathetic to their situation, you need to be empathetic to the children in return. So just let them know what's going on, and don't vent about shit to your children. That, like, don't share too much information with them either. Don't let them witness the disagreements that turn into arguments or fights. Like, that's one of the big things too. Like, there's so much shit that we need to shield our kids from. If you guys have a disagreement, or if you need to fight about a certain situation, if you're getting to the point where you're screaming at each other, let's just both parties leave the situation. Don't talk about it anymore. Stop, and come back when you are cool enough to come back into the same room, away from the children, and discuss certain things. That is a huge key to making sure that you communicate properly with the other party. Self-care is required. Hit it on the head, right? You have to make sure that you take time out for yourself, because as a single parent now, you are going to get overwhelmed. You are going to get overstimulated. You are going to get to a point where you want to rip your fucking head out, or you want to rip your fucking head off. You want to rip your hair out, and you want to fucking jump off a fucking bridge. You're going to get to that point. The only way to not do that is to find some sort of outlet. Going to dinner with coworkers, going and having a drink with coworkers, or, finding, another friend to go out with. That's where the support system comes in, right? You go out to dinner with friends, or go out to dinner with, coworkers, or just going and getting massages, or fucking getting your nails done, or fucking going to the gym. listening to music, coming home to an empty house where it's just nice and fucking quiet. Because I love that certain nights where I can just, she takes the kids and I can just come home and literally pop headphones on and sit in the dark and just listen to music. Or I can pop headphones on and sit here and play mindless fucking PS5 for, 2 or 3 hours, or go to the gym. Love when I can go to the gym and not have to worry about, hurrying things up. I can take a little bit more extra time and work out and do extra things here and there. And it's a great way to just let go of the stress of the week, let go of the stress of the day, and just make sure that you're taking care of yourself to a point where you're not going to flip out anymore. Number 9, be smart about new partners. Obviously, if you're going to have a new partner, if you're going to bring a new partner into the situation, please make sure that the new partners have a secure place in the family structure. So they should not be in the mutual child rearing decisions, nor should they communicate with the ex-partner on matters related to the children. It's just going to piss you off, right? It's going to piss everyone off. Make sure you take enough time to get your partner established, not just with you. Make sure you have enough time to integrate. And please, I see this so often more than not. If you're going to be with a partner, make sure that you're with them for an extended, significant period of time. I don't know when that is, maybe 6 months, maybe a year. Make sure it's a person that you think that you're going to be with for an extended period of time. And how about getting to know the person inside and out before starting to integrate the children into the mix? Because I have seen so many sad fucking stories where the mom or the dad gets mixed up into a situation where they have their partner get mixed in, and there's too many times where kids are getting fucking abused or kids are getting neglected because of the new partner. Your new partner might come in, and I know too many people put too much trust in their new significant other to the point where they bring their children in to the situation. And how many people have done this, where you bring your children into the situation, you have a new partner, and you go, hey, I just need to go run to the store real quick. Are you okay watching them? Please don't do that. Please do not do that. If you have only known your person, your partner, your new partner for 3 months or less, please do not. If you don't know what your partner's favorite fucking meal is, or if you can't finish each other's sentences, or if you straight out like still have that kind of uneasy feeling when you're with them, that you don't know everything about them, do not leave your children with them, people. That's how kidnaps happen. That's how murders happen. That's how abuse happens. Like, I'm not saying it's going to happen to everyone, but I'm just saying, if you don't know your partner that well yet, don't bring the kids around. Do not bring the kids around. Just be okay with getting to know your partner inside and out and being comfortable with them to a point where you don't need to bring the kids around. Like, you guys are okay with hanging out with each other. And like, even if you didn't want to bring the kids around, that's fine. If you want to wait a year, that's fine. If you want to wait 2 years, that's fine. They don't need to have to meet the kids all the time. You don't have to bring the kids into the situation right away, because number one, that doesn't look healthy for you, and it's not healthy for the kids. Not to mention, it's not healthy for your relationship, because not every new partner wants to fucking be bombarded with kids right away, right? Especially if they don't have kids. And especially if they have kids and they have a different view than you do. How about getting to a point where you guys have discussed that, and then bringing the kids around, like that needs to be discussed. You guys need to know when the right time, when both parties are ready to bring the kids in. And I know when you're in the honeymoon phase and everything is going well and you guys are just clicking and fucking moving along so hunky-dory, would be a great time to discuss, oh yeah, I'd be fine with the kids. Let's think about this. Let's really think about it. You need to set it. You need to take it upon yourself to set a time frame, because you two, when you're in the honeymoon phase, you're fucking blinded about a lot of shit. And I've made that mistake. And I know my other party has made that mistake, where you get in the honeymoon phase, you lose focus of what's really the point here. And then you put the blinders on and then you're like, oh, okay. Yeah. You want to meet the kids? Okay, cool. Bad mistake. Bad fucking mistake. Because I know for me, when I bring them in too soon, I get that uneasy feeling where I'm like, you watch, and I know a lot of people do this. When your kids interact with your new partner, you sit back and you watch, right? And sometimes as I'm watching, I get the uneasy feeling of this isn't gonna work. And I can't get over that fact. So if I'm sitting there and watching my kids interact with my new partner and I'm like, oh, this just doesn't seem right. If it doesn't seem right, it doesn't seem right. It is what it is. And sometimes that might be because you brought the kids, you had them meet the kids way too soon. Way too soon. So just be smart. Be smart about it. Take the time, set a goal for yourself, for your new partner, discuss it with your new partner. Let your new partner know that you have kids right away, because I don't know how many times I've come across people going, oh, I didn't even know she had kids, you know? So please be smart about it. And then step number 10, hopefully this is what we're headed towards. Me and my ex, hopefully this is what we're headed towards. And in time, find forgiveness. I have found forgiveness because I am too old to deal with the fucking drama, too old to deal with the bullshit. Shout out to Sylvia Smith, who wrote the article. You can find the article. I'll have it posted in the description. It is literally ourfamilywizard.com. Like I said, I will post it in the description. Guys, got through another episode, right? Wanted to make sure that everyone knows I'm still doing the sticker promo. If you guys want a free sticker, comment below, comment on one of my shorts, comment on any kind of freaking content that I put out there. TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, anything. DM me, email me, comment below. Hey, I want a sticker. Obviously, you're going to have to let me know where you're from so I can send it out, but just let me know what's going on. Let me know that you want a free sticker. Again, I will... Again, stickers, right? Right there. I get them. I get them for cheap. I have a shitload already. I'm handing them out. Anybody that wants a free sticker, anybody that follows and subscribes to any of my pages. But I need more subscribers on YouTube. I need way more followers on TikTok. So if we can work on pumping my TikTok and my YouTube page up, like I said, comment, DM me, email me. I'll have all my links in the description, and in my bio, I have all my links too. Go ahead and hit me up. Let me know, subscribe, follow. Every little follow, subscription matters, because the more and more I can promote my page, the more and more I can the more and more support that I get, the more and more I can do with the podcast. And I have a couple awesome podcasts coming up. Next week, I will be podcasting from Ocean City, Maryland. So stay tuned for that. It's going to be a fun show. Then the week after, I'm going to have a guest on. We're going to sit down and shoot the shit. There's going to be so many things, so many awesome episodes coming up. And I just wanted to take the time to make sure that you guys please support my channel. Please support my TikTok, all my socials. Go and support, because it takes it a long way. And even just putting something like this little fucking sticker, this little sticker right here, doing something, putting that sticker somewhere is going to promote it without having to do anything, right? So make sure that you guys keep it here. Like I said, next week we're from Ocean City, Maryland. It's going to be a great time. Great podcast coming up next week. Make sure you stay tuned. Keep watching every week. Every Monday, I'm going to be dropping a new episode. So keep watching, keep supporting. I love you guys. And hey, as always, keep kicking it.